Welcome everyone to the L7C podcast, UFC edition. Today we are coming at you with a UFC update on what's been going on since the last time we've been here. We got the UFC MMA expert, Mr. Chuck Marlowe. How are you doing today, sir?
I am doing fantastic. It is a lovely Sunday. It's been a lot of combat sports stuff going on, and it's a great time to be alive.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So a lot has happened since we've been away. I want to definitely start and get this ground, just get it rolling. We had the UFC 306. It was the event that was in the Sphere in Las Vegas. Chuck, what were your thoughts on actually seeing the Sphere on your screen, seeing how they were doing it? Like, what were your thoughts on it overall?
See, I think just the graphics overall was just mesmerizing. The way it looked pretty much like Mortal Kombat almost.
Hmm.
And how you had like the backgrounds, the different settings, the tributes it played to Hispanic heritage during that time. I think it was just overall a great performance. I think it was a good showcase. I wish he would have used it more in like the first, like the prelims, the early prelims and stuff, which I get why you don't. You use it for the people who spend money for the card. But it would have been nice to see it earlier. And I guarantee it would have probably made people go, oh, I want to see what else. If this is what he's doing for now, like, hey, it's going to be crazy probably once it gets to the main event. So I want these people to buy in. So like he probably could have baited people a little bit more into buying it. But I think he's trying to do a thing where like, well, you regret not buying it, so maybe you'll buy the next one type of deal. But it was amazing.
Yeah, Dana White, they paid homage to Mexico. They're celebrating their independence ahead of the official date of September 16th. According to Dana, UFC spent 20 million on that event and employed a staff of more than 500 people to pull it off. Now, with that type of event, Chuck, there's no way an average person can go to an event like that, though.
Oh no, not no way at all. I mean, you gotta have some money. I mean, it was one of those YouTubers I was watching. He had floor seats, 100 and I think like $150,000 for floor
Mhm.
seats to the event. And he had some friends who went to the event who paid like maybe $6,000. And he said their view is better because their view is higher up and you can get like a better view. You have a nice downward look of the octagon. Plus, you can see the whole backdrop of the sphere. So it looks even better. So the people who paid like 100 and something thousand dollars for floor seats are a little bit salty about that, probably. But I mean, I get it.
Would you want to see the spear come back? Do you want to see it come back for like a UFC
Oh,
350, 400, a big milestone event?
definitely. I mean, I think it'd be great. I know he said this is a once, like this is like a one-time thing, but I mean, at the end of the day, you're going to give your fans what they want. And if the Sphere keeps on showing up how it does, how it did against these other people, I think it'll be pretty nice. I think the showcase that he put, like you're going to have to make it for a special event. It's going to have to be like UFC 400 or something crazy like that. Like it's gonna have to be something crazy to get everybody on board. And then you can maybe do the history of UFC through that, do some backgrounds, do a cultural overall, since UFC is just the whole world overall. I think that'd be pretty nice.
Agreed, agreed. What are your thoughts on 306? I know we are way weeks past that event, but what are your thoughts on the overall match? O'Malley, like, what are your thoughts?
I think overall the matches were pretty decent. I think there could have been a lot more. I think there could have been a lot more high level fighters. I think you also could have put maybe a lot more Mexican fighters since it was Mexican Independence Day. I mean, for your main event, I would bump the main event to be Grosso. I know O'Malley and Marab are a higher draw, but being Mexican Independence Day, if that's what you're really celebrating, make that your headliner or get Brandon Moreno to come back out. I mean, I forgot what his timeline was, but still, you could have maybe got someone at least Mexican or Hispanic descent to be a main event. I mean, Marab they say is, but I that's just more hearsay.
Yeah, so I mean, the main event you had O'Malley him losing, and then
Yeah,
he is taking some time now because he was injured, correct?
Correct. So I think the belief was like I think he said he hurt his hip a little bit before the fight. I can't remember. Yeah, he said he had to get hip surgery following the title loss. So he said he tore his left labrum in his hip. So he did that a little bit before going into the fight. So that probably happened like a little bit before, but still, like just going into the fight with an injury, if that's the case, I mean, if he's really getting surgery, then obviously it's definitely an issue. But depending on when or where it happened, if it's before a fight, it really irritates me kind of. If it's after the fight, then I mean, it just happens. But definitely probably a big excuse card, I feel like a little bit.
Sure, sure. So two things from this night, well, three things really stuck out. Obviously, the spear that we've already talked about. The other was a match in here that was known now as the cut around the world, Chuck. You've watched a lot of UFC, man. I've never seen a cut like that. Can you tell everyone what we're talking about?
Yeah, so Irene Aldana versus Norma Dumont. I had Norma Dumont money line, by the way, so thank you, Norma, for putting a beating on her. But I mean, after Irene's last fight or fight against Amanda, and then I forget who else she fought before that, but she would look like punching bags in each of those fights. And I mean, she needs to really think about changing her fighting game because she takes a lot of damage and a lot of shots to the face. Now that she's going to have all this scar tissue and other issues, pretty much she's going to be easily cut. And like that is a huge gas. Definitely going to require a little bit of plastic surgery going on there. But it was like basically like three or four separate cuts. It went down one big giant gash down from like her forehead, like the top of her forehead, maybe hairline area, down into like the bridge of her nose almost, coming down from her eyebrow a little bit. And like it just completely split and separated. Like she had to get that stapled together. I forget how many staples and stitches, but then she had like a cut go across the bridge of her nose and a cut underneath on her cheek. It was just cut. She was cut up pretty bad, and it was just leaking blood the whole time. I'm surprised she didn't go out from taking all those punches, plus lost all that loss of blood. So for her to hold on and make it to the decision was pretty good, honestly. But like that was probably one of the most brutal cuts I've ever seen. Surprised it didn't get stopped because most of the time, even like some of these cuts that are that bad, like this is the worst cut ever. For it to
Yeah,
be
this
this
cut
bad
was
and then make it that
gruesome.
far is pretty insane. Props off to the ref for letting it keep going. We'll see what long term damage that causes for her. Definitely, she'll look back on it as a cool moment in life, but also probably like, damn, like I messed my face up pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, that cut.
But it
Oof.
honestly looks sick. It looks so sick. I mean, there's some fighters who like those battle scars, and I mean, it is what it is. It's just you're wearing your life on your face.
I
Just
agree.
got beat up.
Yeah, and it helps that she won. If she would have like got KO'd off of something, that would have made it a lot.
Oh yeah. Oh, that would have
And
made it even worse.
then another thing that came out that day, I guess it makes sense because you have the sphere the world is watching. We got a major, major announcement. UFC 309, Saturday, November 16th, New York. So Madison Square Garden, heavyweight title bout. So that means Jon Jones, who we have not seen fight in a long time, he'll be fighting Stipe, who we have not seen fight in a long time. This is going to be the main event. Chuck, first, what was your initial thought on the announcement that day? And now that you've had some time to really think about it, what can we even expect from this match?
Um, I mean, it's what I expected. I mean, I expected Jon Jones versus Stipe. I mean, he's been talking about it. He wants it so bad. Stipe's been talking about he wants John so bad. I mean, they want to put up a mega fight of two of the greatest fighters. I mean, you have the greatest heavyweight fight, one of the great, probably top three heavyweight fighters in Stipe. And then you have your number one light heavyweight fighter in Jon Jones of all time. So you put those two goats against each other, goat versus goat, and Jon Jones has the heavyweight belt right now. I think that's going to be a great fight. I mean, but where they're at in their careers, we'll see how that stands up. But it's definitely going to be something where they both don't have the best cardio. but I think they're both great fighters where they'll put on a show for the fans. So I'm interested to see how that go. I think it'll be a good mix of grappling and striking because I think both can grapple pretty well. Well, really good, actually. Let me put it that way. I'll see how Stipe stops the Greco-Roman wrestling of Jon Jones with his own wrestling, and then we'll see how the striking goes. I mean, you know how good Jon Jones is in the striking game, but we'll see how if he can really put it together at heavyweight now, especially after coming off the torn shoulder or pectoral area. So we'll see if that has any limited mobility on wrestling actually too. So we'll see. I'm interested. I mean, it's two goats. You want to see two goats fight where they're at in their career, where they're not in their primes. I won't say they're in their primes. It sucks, but I mean, it's still going to be a great fight. And then you have Tom Aspinall in his backup in case Stipe gets hurt or something, which I know Tom low key in the back of his head's like, all right, please let me be able to step in.
You know, because he gets like yeah, if Stipe something happens, he gets to step in. A lot of people, Chuck, are talking that this is potentially, allegedly, the final match for Jon Jones and Stipe. Stipe's
Um,
been he's been more announcing, but people have been saying that Jon Jones this might be the last one. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, so John, I don't know. The way he throws it out there sounds so casual. I mean, as you've probably heard Sonnen say, sounds like he just throws it out kind of casually. And then being the competitor that John Jones is, I don't know if he's going to be able to sit on the couch and watch other people fight and not have an itch to come and fight and hop on Twitter and start talking smack to some fighter. I mean, it's going to happen for sure. And I feel like he'll get an itch at some point and want to come back and fight. He's not going to want to sit down and not do anything. I feel like he might want to get one or two more fights in. We'll see. Stipe, we know who he pretty much wants. This is the last fight he wants probably, and he'll retire. He's a happy family man. He'll come back out here towards Strongsville and just relax and chill the rest of his life at the fire department. Plus, he has a new strong style opening up in Parma. So yeah, he's fine with where he's at. He's fine if he retires. He's held the belt. He's showed what he has, and this is just his last opportunity. And John wants to do it in Madison Square Garden in New York. So I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if he really does it. But then we'll see how long it lasts. I don't know if I can't trust competitors to really sit on the bench and watch. Sometimes they have to be put out, unfortunately, in order to realize they need to hang it up.
So I will ask because this guy's been one of your guys for as long as time can remember. Just fighting wise, obviously, the personal stuff's left you sour, but just fighting wise, he's been one of your guys. If let's say we're going to enter October soon, he says it's his last match, confirmed he ain't doing this again. Would you ponder or inquire about trying to go watch him live as like maybe a Christmas present, early Christmas present to yourself?
I think they said the fight's November 16th, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, I really want to spend the money. November 16th too. That's let me think, what, about a month out. Might be near the if the Yankees make it far, it might be towards the World Series. If the Yankees make it that far too,
Okay.
go to watch Jon Jones and go watch the Yankees in the World Series. If my money's looking right, I probably would do it. But the thing is, those tickets might be through the roof. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm a man about being financially responsible.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're scalping for those tickets and they're making them sky high because it's really his last fight, people are going to want to pay to see the greatest of all time's last fight. So those tickets, they're probably through the roof already. I guarantee I go look on here right now while we're still talking. I'm gonna take a look and see.
Mm-hmm. Dang, that is. I just always wonder because I know when people think about like their favorites and they're like, oh, they know it's their last person like thing. They're like, oh, do I try and save up to go see him live? Because again, not to your fault, but as we've talked about, this is more to the UFC's fault, is how we don't get big events in the Midwest.
Yeah, and I mean it's just because everybody really. I mean we really don't have the stadium, the weather. Like you would put it at Rocket Mortgage, but Rocket Mortgage can only seat so many. put it at Cleveland Brown Stadium, I mean, it's outside. So you start weighing in those factors. You try to put it at the shoe, it's outside.
Yeah.
Nationwide arenas, Schottenstein, they can only hold so many people.
Hmm.
So it's just kind of hard. And I get it. But then also for this event, I mean, if John really wants to retire at home, Madison Square Garden, New York, a place like, that's home. And yeah, I'm looking at it now. Nosebleeds, some are in 700, 600, $500 each. And that's not even including my wife because I know I'd bring my wife with me. And yeah, so that'd be like 1,000 at least. So like, I don't know. It's like I would do it, but at the same time, like this is going to change my life if I'm really there. I've been to a UFC event live. It's fun. It's great,
Hmm.
but I rather watch on TV, sit back on a nice big screen. Actually, I would buy the pay per view. That's something I would do. I'd buy the pay per view.
Okay. 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 All right. I
I
think Dana
guarantee
would.
that I could see it.
Yeah, Dana, I think would appreciate that one as well. I think I'll be getting that one as well. Definitely. Saturday, November 6th, 10th with that. I wonder what else is going to be on that card.
Yeah, I know they're probably still working on filling that out. You're definitely going to have something other than just Jon Jones and Stipe because if that ends up being a dud, then you're going to have because like if they're both really actually where they're at in their age, you're going to have to look to fill that up, obviously, which I would hope that that's what they're thinking to do. But right now, you're going to have to figure out who you really want to put in those slots to make it a lot more interesting.
And again, go, nothing really to say about that, but
Oh yeah.
he has been gone for a while. And we've talked about this on previous pods. He is not the current face of UFC. The current face of UFC is Alex Pereira. And to Lord and behold, he will be fighting this weekend, October 5th, UFC 307. He is in the main event. Obviously, it's for his light heavyweight title against Roundtree Jr. Chuck, man, this is the type of card. They got some big names on here. Pereira, Julia Pena, Kayla Harrison, who hasn't, I feel like she has not fought since what, her debut?
Oh yeah. Oh
Yes,
yeah.
they got some. Yeah, I saw her. Jose Aldo's on this card. Like those four alone, just they got some big names on this.
Yeah, no, this I when I was taking a second look at this before prepping for this, I was like, how the hell is this card not this hyped up? Like this is a good ass card. I
I didn't
mean,
even know about the card
this
till
one
I started
snuck in.
researching for the pod.
Like this one, they snuck this one in and snuck it right under everybody's nose.
Mhm,
I, I'll get once we get to the main event, we'll get to the main event. But like, I mean, you got all the way down at the bottom, you have McGee and Tim Means.
mhm.
I think that's a banger of a fight right there. That's going to be a bloody fight. I think it's going to be pretty scrapped off. It's going to get to the decision, or someone's going to get finished probably in the third round. It's going to be a high level fight. You have Carla Esparza and Tisha Pennington.
Mhm.
I mean, I think already there, that's going to be a good fight. Two high level skilled individuals, experienced individuals. It's going to be a good first women's fight that they have on there to open it up. And then you have Ryan Spann and Oviac St. Preux. St. Preux is getting up there in age, but I think he's still a high level fighter. And Ryan Spann needs to make a splash. So he's been also training with Jon Jones. So I think him and light heavyweight, we'll see how that does a lot better for him in the weight wise. You have Ihor and Cesar Almeida. Cesar Almeida is looking to try and add another electrifying win. Um, and then like you just like that's just on the bottom. Like, but then you move up and you get like Stephen Thompson versus Jaquan Buckley, karate style, and with another good striking style, Jaquan Buckley, who's a real built like tank of an individual. You got Roman Dolidze versus Kevin Holland. I mean, Holland's looking to bounce back after the loss to MVP. Plus, he's going against Roman. I think that's going to be a good fight. You look at the odds for that; it's plus 142 to minus 170. It's pretty even draw, which I think is going to be a high level fight. But like, I mean, overall, this card is stacked. Kayla Harrison, she needs to come out with another electrifying run. She's minus 800, which is insane. For her second fight to be a minus 800. It's you got Aldo and Mario Batista. Like, you have some fights on here. You have some fights on here.
Why is the promotion so low then?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like it was a snuck in like Perea and Roundtree were like, hey, look, we can jump in right now, fight. So like I also feel like it was kind of like you have all these fighters switching out and hopping in. So the draw for it isn't as much. Plus you have O'Malley who just lost to Marab. So that's kind of like have people like, what the heck? Like they're still kind of stuck on that. So they really haven't been paying attention to what was coming up next because everyone's still in disbelief because Sean O'Malley is supposed to be like up there as a face of the thing also with Alex Pereira. Like Pereira was definitely over O'Malley, but like O'Malley was if he would have solidified himself with another great win against another great person, then it's like, okay, he's on a bantamweight run and it would have definitely caught more heat. And so he definitely would have been building up. And so for him to drop off like that, everyone's kind of like flabbergasted. And so now you still have Perea and Roundtree, and everybody's kind of like Roundtree ill. Like, so it's not going to be hyped up because it's like, why did Roundtree deserve to get put into a title fight after he pulled out of this last fight? So they're kind of like, this doesn't really make sense. So it doesn't have as much draw. But one thing I want to say to people who really haven't watched anything about Roundtree, and you already watched Perea because you know who Perea is. These guys both together only have one combined total takedown attempt in all of their fights, like the last 23 or something fights in their careers. Only one takedown attempt between the two of them. That's
Wow.
insane. So is it going to be? I mean, Khalil Roundtree he trained at Tiger Muay Thai in Thailand, and his Muay Thai is out of the roof. So I think it's going to be a really good Muay Thai high level striking with him and Perea, and they're just going to be standing there trying to throw different kicks and different type of striking. And I think it's going to be really, really great fight. It's going to be a high level fight. Some people are going to be like, "Oh, this is kind of boring," but if you really pay attention and watch their arms, watch their feet, watch their hips, watch their eyes, just watch their body movements, and just really watch what they're doing, it's going to be a really good chess match. I feel like
Who do you have winning?
I can't not take Perea. But I will definitely be hedging with a few Khalil Roundtree money lines and also have him by like knockout in third or fourth round, maybe second round if we're lucky. But nothing early because that first round is going to be kind of a fill out, I feel like, for both of them. So I might take Alex Pereira first round knockout just if he catches him on some stupid stuff. But like I'm telling you some potential things you want to look at for this. So I think it's pretty insane.
So, and then just again, like talking about like what going back to Kayla, because again, we haven't seen her. Herrera, we've been seeing almost every two cards, which is as I love. I know I love it because you're like, all right, you're seeing the best fight consistently. Because we've never seen I don't think I've ever seen a UFC champion fight this consistently at the peak of his powers.
Oh no, I mean everyone's waiting for the fall off, and that's the thing about it too, which makes it even greater. It's like everybody's like, when's the fall off going to happen? When's the fall off? But so far, like there's no fall off, and it's pretty crazy. So we just want him to keep it up. We want him to keep fighting at this high level. I want to see how long this run can go. You want one of those historic runs where you're like, okay, shit, this is definitely the best fighter ever. Because I mean, like, look at this run he's on. Like no one's ever had a run like that. So like that's what he wants to try and do, and he's trying to do it. And if he can keep this shit up, I'm gonna keep being mind blown.
So then like again, Kayla 303, 300 was the last time she made her debut there. Now it's 307. If she wins this, Chuck, is she number one contender for the strap?
Oh yeah, so, I mean, if you're beating a number two contender, plus with like the heat that she's coming in on, like the like fandom that's already surrounding her, I think she will just take off and already get a title shot, and it'll be interesting to see because I mean she'll be fighting. Crap, who will she be fighting? She'll be fighting either the winner of Raquel and
And
Juliana, which is
Pena, yeah.
also on that card. So that's
Yep.
obviously what's going to happen if she
Oh,
wins, and
face
then
off. Face off.
she's going to go into the crowd probably and wait
Mhm.
after their fight to see whoever hops on next and wins, and she's going to probably make a call out at the end of her fight, and then obviously they're going to be backstage, and whoever is going to win is going to be in the back of their mind. They're like, okay, well, I think that you deserve. And then I think if Pennington loses and it's a close fight, Pennington versus Harrison, they're going to see who deserves to fight next, and then she'll go up against Pena. But if Pena loses and it's close, I don't really know if they're going to vouch for a second fight or if they do her versus Harrison. I feel like that's the best thing to do. The loser of that fight has to fight Harrison to see if she goes for a title before doing a rematch.
Mhm.
And if not, then just boost her up to whoever the hell wins the belt, and then let's see what happens because they're going to get that's going to sell regardless, and that's really what Dana wants to see is selling tickets.
That is facts. That's facts. This card definitely needs more publicity. I know probably closer to Thursday you'll have people doing their interviews on ESPN, things of that nature. And but this card is something else. Like just for it to be under the radar like this. I mean, this is crazy. 307 Pereira fighting, and then next 308. 308 has Holloway. That's a little bit away. That's October uh 26th. But Chuck, UFC man, if you don't pay attention, you'll miss some of these big cards that they're not promoting.
Yeah, I mean it goes by quick, and like once it's gone, it's gone. So most people really don't pay attention, and it'll the results will ride a high for a week, and then it kind of falls into the cracks. Because once those fight nights happen, most people aren't paying attention to the fight nights and stuff like that, and don't really care. So it's pretty interesting to see when these cards slip through the cracks.
Oh, I agree. Chuck, what else is going on in the UFC world right now?
So one fight that I feel like, I mean, once we get to obviously we'll highlight Jon Jones and Stipe once that comes around. But like other news, Michael Chandler finally moved on and
Yeah.
he stopped waiting on Connor. And obviously, I think that's the smartest thing that's smartest thing that he could have done. Um, and so he's going to be looking to do a rematch against Charles Oliveira, get his redemption against Charles, which I think will help him. This is something that he really wants to do because he wants to get to the belt. He doesn't have that much time left. He can't waste years of his career on Connor if he wants to chase the belt because you're not chasing Connor, you're chasing the belt. And that's one thing he wants to not lose sight of. So he wants to get that he wants to get it back in blood against Charles. I don't know if that's going to happen because I think Charles is such a high level fighter and I think Charles can win. I mean, he had Charles stunned a few times in that fight. So like it can definitely happen, but I think Charles is such a good fighter that Charles wins again. But I'm happy he's moving on. He wants to have a career in the UFC. You can't waste your time on fools who just want to be coked out and shoot up steroids and has money. He has way more money than you, and he's worried about so many different other business ventures. You can't waste your time on that. You could care less about where your career gets staggered or not. His career isn't staggered. He's already proved something. What have you proved in the UFC? So that's what he has to think about.
No, I do not. I don't disagree. I I commend him for making that move, saying like, "Hey, I'm done with this." So I don't. Again, we always talk about Connor. What's going on? What's he gonna do? Blah blah. But the UFC can't wait for him. Like they got a lot of stars going on, and fighters can't wait for the I'm gonna get the Connor fight. Like you already said, man, he has way too much money. He hasn't won a fight in ages, so he doesn't have it anymore. He's not the same. So why wait?
Yeah, I mean, because otherwise you're just going to waste years of your career, and you're going to look back like, why did I waste this much time on one individual? And that's crazy if you waste all your time on one individual and let that live rent free in your head forever.
Yeah, yeah, no, I 100% agree. Chuck, anything else?
Um, just look for more things to come probably on the way. I mean, yeah, new bantamweight champion. Things are realigning. You got some more fights getting lined up down the road. You want to start seeing those pound for pound fighters start fighting and showing why they're in the pound for pound. We'll see what else happens with these other belts that are sitting in these divisions. A lot of people aren't happy now. Bilal has the belt, so we'll see how that starts getting shifted around. All these different wrestlers taking belts lately. So we'll see. People aren't happy about the wrestlers having belts.
Why? Because they think the wrestlers are too boring.
Yeah, people don't want to. They want to watch MMA and get boxing.
Okay. 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 Speaking of, you brought that segue, MMA, boxing, things of that. I know you saw, what were your thoughts on that Hall video where he
Man.
talked about lifting 500 pounds like he was benching 500? If you're guys, if you're watching that, that was
I
not
couldn't tell if
500.
that beer gut was real or not.
Well, I can tell you
That's
what, the
really
weights were fake. That was not, there's no way he was just casually doing 500
I
like
want to know
that.
if that belly is fake or not. That's what I want to know. I don't. He's just a joke. He's making a mockery to the sport. I feel like at this point, I feel like someone really needs to put him out. And I don't know.
Oh, Chuck,
I respect his hustles.
breaking news right now, because, currently recording on a Sunday, football. Derrick Henry just ran a one play 87-yard run
Oh,
in
that's great for fantasy,
in
and that's
12
great for
seconds.
sports betting. Oh, that is amazing. Thank you. That's great for fantasy, and that is great for sports betting. That clears most of my legs for Derrick Henry. Um, Puts me up in fantasy. Oh yeah, I'm having a good week now. Thank you, Derek. I'm projected to win that game now. And I'm looking good in fantasy. You know, it's a great weekend. Oh, damn, Derek. This is why they brought you to Baltimore. That's what I've been waiting for. Oh,
Okay.
that's great.
Just had to throw that in there. But yeah, man, that Paul thing, I'm just like, we're still doing that. And I know, speaking of football, it was the New Orleans Saints game where, sorry, Chuck, your team the Cowboys got killed, where Paul and Tyson had a face off pregame.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like that also played into a factor for us losing. That brought bad karma into the game. Nah, but anything to sell, anything to sell fans to sell tickets to Cowboys fans. They'll waste their money on stuff. Waste their money on the Cowboys every year.
Yeah, so that fight's still allegedly going to happen. And then some boxing stuff. We've seen some knockouts like Anthony Joshua getting knocked out cold. Like these big heavyweights, man, and it's just getting knocked out and upset.
Yeah, I think it's going to continue to happen with all these different things shifting around. I think I like the way the status of the sports game, combat sports is right now. I like things changing from person to person. You know, I really don't like one person sitting at the top. You want to have your person who has their dominant run, but it makes it much more special when it's one individual.
Hmm.
So I just want to keep seeing. I like the chaos, but I want to see someone get on a good run. So if Alex Pereira keeps this run up, I mean, it's just going to make his run look so much more crazier because they're going to be like, oh, if all these belts change, then he had this belt since this long, or like his last loss was when so and so was here X, Y, and Z. So like, I can't wait for all the different statisticians and stuff like that to change once he gets down towards the final moments of his career if he continues to win like this.
Agree, agree. Man, Chuck talked a lot, caught the world back up, caught our fans back up in the world of USC. Uh, we got a big pay-per-view this weekend, 307, with a lot of fan favorites, like we've already talked about, Pereira, Kayla, and the whole 9 yards. Everyone's going to be at this one. Can't we might have a face-off with, well, Kayla right now is minus. I think she's the biggest favorite. Yeah, she is the biggest favorite currently on the card at minus 800, which is bonkers to have a minus 800 in a fight, like in a fight, man. Because again, we know a knockout here, a slip here, anything is possible. So to have minus 800, that's crazy.
Like I wonder what people think when they go online and look at these odds because obviously fighters have access to all this stuff. Some
Oh
of them
yeah.
still do sports, but like if I saw that someone was on minus 800 against me to whoop my ass, like I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
damn, y'all really think I'm gonna get my ass beat like that? Like, it would definitely round me up some and get me a little bit extra motivated to be a lot more sharper and be on my A game,
Like the
cash
fact you
my own
have to
check.
put that much, like you have to put so much money for it to even give you a positive because everyone just expects her to cakewalk through through her opponent, who's ranked number two. He's not a scrub. Like, and they
Yeah,
just
yeah, and that's all the more reason. All that's just more fuel. Add more fuel to your thing. You know what? If you want to add some more fuel too, I take all my money in my accounts, empty them out, bet them on myself,
yeah, yeah.
burn the boats.
Like just like Pereira. I mean, even Pereira right now, he's a minus 455 favorite. Like that's still not even 800. Um,
Which is insane for his run.
right. Just real quick, another thing because I just thought about that with the cash and all that, and made me think of this person. Chuck, man, are they gonna? I know they already got replacements, so they're gonna keep Jones on lockdown. Like, is he gonna stay out of trouble? I mean, literally the day they announced the fight, he was with Ryan Garcia.
I mean, I think Jon Jones is a little bit. I mean, I think he's a little bit more mature than where he was at. I think he realizes what he has and what he's seeing things probably going on with his brother. I don't know. I'm putting thoughts and ideals out into the world. Hopefully, I'm hoping this is hopeful me that he's grown and he's been smarter about his antics. Um, I think he was sorry, a a lot less drama in his life. Hopefully, I think he wants a quiet life. So I hope that's where he wants. You always hope that Jon Jones is doing good, and then Jon Jones. So we'll see. We can only hope. I don't think that John or Dana White's never been the type to put a leash on anyone, as you probably heard him say before. They're all humans. They're adults. He expects them to be able to act like adults and handle themselves like adults. Obviously, it doesn't always happen, but he's not going to put somebody on a leash. He's just going to expect you to be smart, knowing that what you have.
Yeah, hopefully. Because again, I'm only saying that because history has shown us, a la UFC 200, every time there's a real big one, he's on the drugs. So,
But I think I will see if he cleaned his act up.
Chuck, anything else, man?
Um, just look for some bets coming out probably that Saturday, maybe or late Friday night. Um, in anticipation of this event, I'm trying to have some things out there for y'all this Saturday.
Love it. With that being said, thank you everyone for listening to the L7C podcast. Sorry for the big gap between the last UFC one and this one. Hopefully, we won't have this big a gap in the coming future, especially these last part of the year as we're gearing towards the end of the 2024 year. I know Chuck wants to finish strong with UFC, and obviously, in the month of November, maybe Chuck's biggest UFC month ever, previewing the Jon Jones alleged maybe final match, reviewing it. Maybe might have some live specials on that. We'll see what Chuck wants to do because that is a big event. So, with that being said, thank you everyone for listening to the L7C podcast. We'll be back pretty soon because we got to talk about 307. The what if Pereira loses? What if Kalo loses? Like, we'll be back talking about that. L7C signing out.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the L7C podcast. Be sure to like, rate, review, and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on all social media platforms, and we'll be talking to you guys soon. Take care.